Good morning. Good morning. Welcome everybody to the, let's see, it's August 7th, regular town council meeting. We'll begin with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2, are there any visitors who would like to speak? Yes, sir.
I'm a visitor. My name is Matthew Grandfield, and I'm planning on joining the Sustainability Committee again.
Excellent. That's great. Have you applied?
I put my application through on the website,
Excellent.
and I'm friends with Brett Martin, so I'm in the process of joining.
Thank you very much. Any other visitors who would like to speak? All right. So we'll go on to number 3, the approval of minutes for July 17th, 2024. Is there a motion? Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
I wasn't here.
Abstaining. Okay, thank you very much. Item number 3, appointments and reappointments, and we'll begin with Phil Single to the Board of Ethics for a term until June 30th, 2026. We have it here on our agenda that Phil is a U, but he applied as a D, and he is a D. And I wanted to make that clear before we ask for a motion. Does anyone have any questions of Phil? No? All right, Dennis, anyone a motion?
Make the motion. Nobody else wants to make a motion? Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Any discussion? All in
Oh,
favor?
I made the motion. He seconded or vice
Seems
versa?
so, it seems so, yeah.
Whatever way.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Congratulations, Phil, thank you. Our next appointment is Ian Coyne for Human Services, the Advisory Board, for a term until 6/30/2026. Does anyone have any questions for Ian, who is right over here? Hearing none?
I'll make a motion for appointing him. Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Congratulations, Ian, thank you very much. Finally, we have Conchetta Warner for the Human Services Advisory Board. Conchetta is here. Does anyone have any questions? All right, so is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Is there a
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Congratulations. Thank you very much. All right. So moving on to number 5, to welcome our new Human Services Director, who is here with us today, and hopefully she will introduce herself. Her name is Kathy Grega. Am I pronouncing that correctly? That's perfect. That's fantastic. Okay.
Welcome, Kathy. Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I guess Michelle asked me to kind of put together a what have I done so far kind of speech. So I'm in, I think, day 13. I think we've gotten quite a bit done in 13 days. I'm excited. I've been able to meet and have one-on-ones with the team that I have over across the parking lot. They've been doing some exceptionally good work on their own for a while, so they were very excited to come together, have our conversations, talk about what's been going well, what they feel like we could do better. I was able to share kind of what my vision was with them, and that is ultimately just to make what already exists better. I want to be able to really get the department out there in the community. Clinton is a unique kind of town where the age distribution is pretty equal across the board. So I want to make sure that the services we're delivering and the manner in which we're getting out there meets the needs of every kind of age demographic. So that means we need to be creative, we need to be outside the box, and we need to be able to meet the needs of everybody and be able to market to everybody that they're in a way that they're comfortable with. So I met with the chief already. I'm setting up a meeting. I'm waiting for the superintendent of the schools to get back to me to set up a date. I've had some initial conversations with the director of the library to do some ongoing collaboration or new collaborations there. I have been familiarizing myself with all the data, the financial systems, the budget. We're looking at the budgets for '25 and the new funding for the Youth Service Bureau. And let's see what else. One of the ways that we would like to, creative ways that we'd like to start getting more information out there and just being more present in the communities, we're just starting to generate a monthly newsletter, and we've already sort of drafted kind of what that is going to start to look like. We're on draft 2 already. It's something that we're going to send out monthly about kind of what we're doing, what's happening. There's going to be a piece of it that is going to allow community members to bring forth information, kind of just show us who they are. We are also thinking about, or that letter, actually, let me go back to that. The newsletter is going to be able to be distributed electronically. We're going to post it on social media, but we're also going to have available paper copies here, next door, the library. I'm going to reach out to the VFW, certain places where I know people are kind of, there's traffic and they can just pick it up and go. We're going to look at putting the QR code on it so it can just be scanned. People can read it from their phone and just have it accessible. We're going to, the school backpack program starts in 2 weeks. We're going to be putting copies of our material into all of those backpacks. It's not something that they've done in the past. So all of the human services, all the information is going into those school backpacks. So not only the students have our information about preventive services, but the families are going to have our information about our energy assistance programs, our food stamp programs, all those programs under social services. We're going to be attending the open house for Elliott and Morgan at the beginning of September. I'm also going to be talking with the principals there to see if it's possible for us to attend the first round of parent-teacher conferences in November, so we can be a presence there when the parents are actually coming in the building versus just the students for open house. We have a meeting tomorrow evening, Clinton Conversations Committee. So we're going to be meeting to talk about the projects for the fall. September is Suicide Awareness Month, so I want to make sure that we're doing something as a department to make sure that that initiative is getting out there. And then kind of along with that theme, every month has an initiative now. There's always something going on. So we're going to be kind of matching initiatives throughout the year. September is Suicide Awareness Month. October is Domestic Violence Month. November is, there's Military Appreciation, Family Military Appreciation Day. So that we're going to be doing something every month to kind of just, whether it's a information kind of blast, or maybe something a little bit more intimate around the holidays, just to be more of a presence and be more accessible to the community. Let's see. And then finally, we're just going to work on making sure that each kind of department under the umbrella is crossing over and is accessible and is able to market the other. So clinical services can effectively market social services, prevention, and so on and so forth. They haven't historically been able to do that to the capacity that I would like, so we're going to work on that and make sure that they have all the resources and create a better internal system to be able to refer and follow up and check on kind of families and students. So that's kind of where we are at this point.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Not so much a question. You're on day 13. We can't hit you with too many questions yet. But your team that's been there for the last year, Ben and Shelby and Cheryl, they've done amazing work with the lack of a human services director. So just, I think I speak for all of us, our collective heartfelt thanks for all of the stuff that they have been doing for the last year, because they've been doing some amazing work.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree.
Sorry, Chris.
No, I was just going to say that's an impressive list, so sounds good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you.
Item number 6, and that's the radio project update and the appropriation request, and Chief will speak to us about that.
Everybody has a handout that put out an overview of where we sit currently. The Radio Steering Committee was formed back in 2020, so we've been working at this project for nearly 4 years now. The need for the public radio system to be changed was evident prior to that, but we didn't really have any true channels of where that belonged or who that belonged to. So as Phil can attest, when he was my police commissioner, we started putting money in the budget, the capital improvement budget, just to say, hey, we're going to need a radio system very shortly. We're not sure what it's going to cost, but just to try to bring awareness to that. So in 2020, we decided that the enormity of the project and the large expense that it entailed required us to have a steering committee to put together and have some professional guidance and expertise. So that was formed. Carl was the chair as the town manager, myself, Chief Manware, our EMD director, Neff, my lead dispatcher, Tassos Klados, who is not here, but he's down at the APCO conference, and Todd Hayjack, which are all the end users of the public safety radio system. It's not just the police system, it is police, fire, EMS, as well as Public Works, all use the same system. And when Bob was appointed, Bob was put on the committee as the finance chair as well. So our situation is very simply this. Emergency communications is radio communications. So public safety operates primarily still on radio communications. Cell phones are a nice supplement, but they can go out and we're going to lose communications. We cannot operate, and when we do operate, especially in times of natural disaster, where telephone lines go down, signals get crossed, or there's a big event and everybody's using their cell phone and clogs up those tower channels, we need to have radio communications to operate safely. This radio system was purchased over 10 years ago. Unfortunately, when it was purchased, it was already going to become a legacy system, which means that it was already shelved to be non-supported downstream, which is a point that we reached over 3 years ago. None of our equipment is supported by Motorola any longer, which means that when something breaks, they do not fix it. They could try to fix it, but we don't have the parts. They don't manufacture parts for our system any longer, and it is a severe point of failure for us. If we lose communications, we are not able to deliver services, and it's a large risk exposure to not only our safety first responders, but the public as well. If we can't deliver the service, people are going to get hurt. And I don't want to sound alarmist about that, but I think it's important to state the gravity of our need. This is mission critical for all of us to deliver services properly to the town. With that being said, because of the enormity of it, because of the many intricacies of the technology pieces, integrating with the state system, also integrating with our surrounding partners and having interoperability, the ability to scale this system up so we don't get caught in the same position we're in now. We did hire a radio consultant, so Paul Zito's been on the steering committee since 2020 as well. He's well-versed in radio communication systems here in the state of Connecticut. He's pretty much the architect of the state system as it was built, and he's well-known throughout the state. He's really a subject matter expert on that, so he's been guiding us all the way through. The other piece is, so justification of the system, I believe, is evident. The other piece, obviously, which everyone is concerned about, is burden to the taxpayer and cost to the system. So I think we've also done a very, very good job of defraying the cost to the taxpayers of Clinton by finding different funding sources for this radio system. A good portion of it, and it's broken down in number 7 on the handout that we gave you, over $500,000 from ARPA funding. We have a STEEP grant from the state, which goes to the fire department for their subscriber units for $700,000. We have a federal grant coming through the Byrne and a JAG grant for the police department, the COPS grant, COPS office, $600,000. And then we've already allocated money for this project in the form of $2.2 million through capital improvement projects. Part of the project is already completed. We did have to complete our emergency communication center. Those consoles were not supported for the past 4 years. So the main point of where you call 911 and they dispatch out emergency services, those consoles were not supported as of 2020. So We needed to get those done. That project was done. They are Motorola consoles. They were installed by Norcom. And I'd say by anybody's measure that's part of the steering committee, that project was about as flawless as it could go. So that part is completed already. We are a Motorola system, and we would like to remain a Motorola system, just for a single source, so everything is designed to work together. And that's about it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but we've been working at this for a very long time, and I feel it's important, and the whole radio steering committee here felt that it was very important. We understand we're stewards of the public trust, we were stewards of public funding, and we really spent a lot of time ensuring we were going to get a product that was going to deliver the services that we need and be fiscally responsible in doing that. So this hasn't been an overnight project. Like I said, we've been working at this as a formed committee for over 4 years now. And I think this is really the best way forward for us. We do need this equipment, the town needs the equipment, and we would ask that you just provide us that last bit of funding so we can sign the contracts with Motorola. We had already passed the incentive pricing deadline, which was a month ago, but I was able to work with Norcom and to get that extended to August 19th. So there is a little bit of urgency here in that we're going to save another $600,000 in incentive pricing if we sign our contract for this radio system with Motorola prior to August the 19th.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions?
I have a question on the funding. Should I ask you now or wait till you get to the line item transfer for $279,000? I guess I'll see. So you need another $279,000, right? But if you look at the line item transfer, the total amount of the project is $4,148,000. So is that it? What, the last 279, and then we're done? But on the handout you gave us today, it only says $4,069,000. And the steep grant is $500,000 in one spot and $700,000 in the other. Can you explain that?
Right. That was adjusted, the memo that you got, so the spreadsheet is the,
Just a
from the
spreadsheet it
financial
goes with.
system, that's the accurate one.
So you say this is the right one, the spreadsheet? Okay.
Is that
So
it?
you got more steep money than you thought, right? It went from, oh no, you got less. It went from 700 to 5.
Well, there's one steep grant there that's not available anymore because that was spent on the consoles. That's why you have a zero amount on that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So we did receive $500,000.
That's the max.
And the 279 covers the additional 150,000 at the top, the 2 generators and 3 control stations.
Correct. That would bring the funding up to $4,148,000.
What's the small font in the right column that says 182,000 match and 576,000 match?
Yes, they're the matches, and those matches, a town match, which is in those numbers. The appropriations we've done from the CIP will satisfy that match.
So it's not in addition to, that match is in the CIP figures.
Any other questions?
I just want to commend the committee on their efforts and hard work. Being a 4-year project and a lot of commitment from multiple agencies, I think it's important to say that, $1.6 million of this was offset by the state and the federal government. So it's important that, you've taken the time to do your due diligence, apply for the COPS grants, apply for the STEEP grants. I want to commend everybody that worked hard on the project. So it's 40% of this is offset by state and federal money. Good job.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone else? All right, so we are looking for a motion to approve the radio project update additional appropriation request of $279,000 for a total project cost of $4,148,000, which includes $1.1 million in grant funds, $515,000 from ARPA, and $2,533,000 of town funds.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, and just one little quick question. All this money that we found in fringe benefits, employment, 40,000, employment pension, work comp, health insurance, electricity, this was all last year's money, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. It's all savings in 23, 24.
This is the savings from 23, 24. Are all our bills paid up now for 23, 24?
They're just about paid up. Well, they're all paid up in those accounts that those monies are coming from.
So they're approved, which maybe the cash is dispersed.
What I'm trying to say is at the end, when the auditors come in 2 to 3 months, whenever, and they give us a accounting for the year, and they say, well, you know, our budget was short last year. I don't want to be short in last year's budget. In other words, we budgeted it enough for last year. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
We budgeted more than enough, actually.
More than enough.
Right, but what Bob is saying is that these specific line items, he is assured that there is no additional funds being requested from them. So there may be some in other accounts such as DPW where invoices are still out there because by time, you know, some vendors reconcile and send the final invoices. But these line items have no additional
Okay, so
funds
the-
coming out of them.
Okay, not to cut you short, but that's exactly, I'm for the project, don't get me wrong I'm definitely for the project and I want to fund it. But also, I want to just say that, so when these other bills, let's say other departments come short, in the past, when we had these departments that were over, we could budget out even, it would wash. So we won't have that latitude right now. So let's say that, I don't care what other department, Park, Rec, pick one out of the sky, somebody else comes up short, we won't have any of this extra money that we,
No, we
to
have.
help them out.
We have extra money in additional accounts. We're actually going to have a small surplus this year. There are a lot of, these, Social Security and pension, these are state funding that we overcompensated in the budget. So Bob is assured that we actually are going to have a nice sized surplus, so that if that does happen, we will have funds to pull from.
And I guess that's my next little problem. If everybody knows that we have all this extra funds, how come we don't know as a council?
Well, because-
That we have this surplus funds left over?
We do.
Why is it like
Well, the
everybody
books-
knows we have money in our pockets here, there, and there, but we should know?
Yeah, that was in the finance director's report in the last meeting and the meeting before that.
Right.
Yeah, I know that.
So
And I
he
see
is
those
giving you
reports
that.
you give us, and there's a lot of figures here, there, and everywhere. But, I just, all of a sudden, money falls out of the sky, and then everybody just takes it right away, but there's still other bills out there.
Right. At our next meeting, that evening out process that you mentioned, there will be a last request to transfer amounts from accounts that are negative from other.
You have an idea of what those will be? Got a rough idea?
All I know right now is we have about $250,000 available. We're doing a payroll accrual, so there will be minor adjustments in salary accounts for accruing payroll. It's not going to be significant.
All right.
But we certainly,
Okay, I just want to go on the record for this, because later on in the year, all of a sudden we find out, well, geez, we didn't have enough money, we had to dip into this, or we got to go into undesignated now because we were short last year. I don't want to hear that. We have money from last year. Okay, I'm fine. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries.
Can I just add one quick point? I know it's not comments from the public, but just in the interest, we have to sign a contract with Motorola. I don't know what the process is. Is Michelle authorized to do that right now, or do you have to make a vote on that? I want to make sure we have that, because if I don't hit that August 19th date, we're going to lose $600,000. So I just want to put it out there. We're sitting here.
So they're approving the project and then they'll approve the line transfer when we get to that on the line item, and we'll be good.
All good. Just want to make sure. Sorry. Not questioning anybody. Just want to make sure. 4 years on the line. 4 years on the line here, and we got down to the last 30 seconds. I don't want to fumble on the 1 yard line. That's all.
I also don't want to go to an emergency meeting.
All right.
Okay, so item number 7 now, the ARPA reallocation. Is anyone going to speak to this? Would Bob like to speak to this, or would you just like me to read this sheet of allocation?
So this was discussed last meeting, came out of the workshop, so it was approved. These are the actual transfers,
Okay.
that, the reallocation of.
So I'll simply read the
Sure,
motion
yes.
and read, or shall I read the list first? I'll read the motion. So we're looking for a motion to reallocate ARPA appropriations totaling $189,932 from various accounts to various accounts. So it's going from tech for COVID mitigation, from housing utility assistance, from small business assistance, services local business, nonprofit assistance, affordable housing, McCusker gazebo roof replacement, town EV charging station, and summer free lunch. It is moving from those accounts into these accounts. Harbor improvements for $100,000, Public Works road survey for $28,000, Public Works mower attachments, $27,000, and information technology improvements for $34,932. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there,
Okay, you got it.
is there a second?
Second.
Any conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, yes.
Are you going to talk later about like the bathhouse?
Yes, that's in my report.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're on to those line item transfers, and let's start with that radio project. So you have this transfer of funds request form, everybody, from Bob. Bob, did you want to speak to this, or should I just go ahead and read it?
I think
We just.
Right.
It's within the general fund, within the budget, and it's taking amounts from accounts that have available balances in fiscal year 23-24, and it's transferring it to our transfer out to the CIP account, which will satisfy the total amount that we need for the communications project.
All right. And everybody has that in front of them, and we've discussed it? Okay. So is there a motion
So
to
moved.
approve?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you. So the next line item transfers for the fire department. And you all have that in front of you. It is moving from salaries and utilities into expenses for training and apparatus repairs. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there any conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Excellent. All right. Final is Public Works, and that is funds moving from Town Hall generator into the exterior wash and seal. You have that in front of you for $19,509. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. All right, so that's it for the line item. Yes? Yes, that's it. Excellent. Okay, on to my report. Obviously, there's a lot going on, and I would like to address one event that Michelle hosted at the library last week, and that was a public meet and greet, which was very well attended. Most of us were there to see and to hear the questions from the public and the comments from the public. The public's very hungry for information. They're hungry for communication, and they very much appreciated hearing Michelle listen to them and respond to them. I understand that that's going to happen
Quarterly, yes.
quarterly,
That's in my
which
report,
is,
yes.
wonderful. I noticed that because we're also aware of funds and budgets and the public and taxes, that not to understate the fact that nobody mentioned the taxes they're paying. Obviously, we all think about the taxes that they're paying. But what they did ask for is us to pay attention to what it is that we've been paying attention to, and that is downtown improvements and light enforcement and regulations enforcement. And for every question that they had, Michelle had an answer of the next meeting she would have with the person involved. As a council member, I was very, very pleased with that. And I believe that people were pleased too. And I'm thankful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Item number 10 is the town manager's report.
Good morning, everyone. So it has been very busy. I'm just going to run through a list of things here. One of the first things we did was we've had a majority of all of our employees' photos taken. Our website they've been uploaded to the website, so we are slowly getting there. But I would encourage you to check it out and see the wonderful additions of the photos, thanks to Mary, our resident photographer, who stepped in and did that, so thank you. As Carrie mentioned, I actually had 2 meet and greets. One was on July 25th. It was a breakfast with the Chamber of Commerce. We had about 30 business owners there. It was wonderful to meet everyone. I've been keeping a list. I think I've visited about 20 businesses so far. I like getting out and meeting everyone, and it was nice to have everyone under one roof and have this dialogue, which was great. I did hear, some consistent concerns about downtown development, bringing businesses in, and consistency in zoning enforcement and things from sandwich signs to flags and all of that. So I'm working with Abby and Kathy in our zoning and planning office to address those and to navigate that, and also to work on a plan to educate our business owners on those statutes and regs and help them understand it and give them avenues that are easy to reach out when they have a simple question to, can I put this sign here? So we're working on that. The library was generous enough to host a meet and greet with me on August 1st. Again, very well attended, similar concerns. So we are, like I said, working on that. I actually received an email from the library yesterday or the day before that they are continuing to get feedback about the event, and they asked if I'd be open to doing it more often. So I'm going to start doing it quarterly in the community room on Thursday evenings, and the residents can come out. I will be seeing if we can get some kind of a live stream or something recorded so we can get it played back maybe on our website for those who can attend to get the information that is shared. I also know that as part of sharing information with our residents, as you know, Kathy came this morning and gave an update on her department. I am going to start having our department heads come in at the meetings and give just an update to the council about what's going on in their departments, give you an opportunity to ask them what's going on. I'll plan it strategically, so as we're approaching tax season, we can talk about collection rate and things like that, and it just cycle them through, so it's familiar for all of you to have that open dialogue as well. And then the residents will also have that opportunity. The circus is coming to town, as many of you know. So we had an update on that. So I just wanted to share that with all of you in case your constituents ask. The circus starts tomorrow. It's going to run through Sunday. There's a total of 10 shows. The shows on Thursdays and Fridays is 7:30 and 9:30. Saturday is 6:30 and 9:30. And Sunday they have 3 shows, 2:30, 5:30, and 8:30. At the time when we had this meeting, they had about 300 to 400 pre-sale tickets already. Their tent holds 998 people, and they anticipate having a significant uptick in ticket sales as the event gets closer and for walk-ins. They have received all their permits. The final inspection from the fire marshal and building department will be tomorrow morning. I've been assured by our chief, emergency management director, they are ready for this event. They will be handling any traffic issues that come, any security issues. The chief has been in constant communication with Simon, who runs Clinton Crossing, with their security, and I feel very confident that this event will go smooth, and anything that may arise will be addressed quickly and swiftly, and there won't be any impact to the community. The fireworks event, as you are aware, is coming up on the 24th. The council has been kind enough in previous years to give them a portion, or donation, I guess. It was in the budget this year, so on behalf of the council, I did disperse that of $10,000 to the fireworks. The beach house. So I'm going to read you a little snippet from Abby about the beach house project, and then I can give you a little bit more information. The Parks and Recreation Commission decided not to proceed with the reconstruction of the bathhouse based on the anticipated cost of the structure relative to available funds. This decision took into account all funding sources, including state bonding. Subsequent to the decision, the Land Use Office received information from the state that the town would receive recommendation from the state not to issue variances for the structure's elevation during local variance coastal site plan reviews. While the ZBA ultimately votes on whether or not to issue variances, the board has genuinely been consistent with the state's recommendation concerning issues of flood compliance and coastal resilience. This new information further supported the Parks and Rec Commission's decision to explore alternatives. The commission is now reviewing renovation opportunities for the structure that support the commission's needs and do not require costly construction. The commission also is reviewing existing funds to support other projects at the beach. This decision will free up ARPA funds that were allocated for this project. So I'm requesting that we have a ARPA workshop on Wednesday at 6 o'clock, an hour prior to our scheduled town council meeting, to discuss some other projects in town that can use these funds. It's $286,000 that will not be needed. A portion of that, though, the Recreation Commission was planning on using to improve the fencing and the PA system for the field. They said it's about $15,000. They're going to get me some hard figures on that, but that does leave a significant amount of money to be allocated to other projects. I have some department requests. I'm going to be having them present at the workshop to present to you for your consideration, but that was a significant change in in the ARPA projects list. Do you have any questions on that specifically?
That reallocation won't be limited to Park and Rec, it could be.
No, it's going to be used, I have a department request.
so.
Yes, yes.
Park and Rec got quite a bit, and I'm a Park Rec man, but
No,
there's other agencies in
Yes.
this town that could use money.
yes. So we have, I've looked through the department head request. We have some things for the fire department and some economic development ideas that I'd like to present to you all on Wednesday, the 21st, to discuss. And anything that will be presented will be assured they will be able to get under contract and meet the requirement to be under contract and allocated for the December 24 cutoff. Okay, so anything on that?
The 250 state money?
The 250 state money they will be using for other improvements at the beach. So we're going to be working on erosion. There's some erosion issues down there, some improvements that just need to be done with drainage, some pump issues, water pressure issues. So those funds will be utilized for that. We also, wastewater funding, $500,000 for Clinton wastewater collection system and treatment facility passed the State Appropriations Committee at the end of July. It is the first step in the process, and the funding will only be available when the bill is passed by Congress as part of the larger budget bill, which will most likely be in December, but that is encouraging. And that is pretty much all I have for my report. Any questions or?
$500,000, that's federal money or state money?
This is,
It's federal.
this is congressional.
Federal money.
Does it have restrictions on it, do you know?
That I don't know. They just sent a press release out listing all the towns and what projects they have money set aside for if it goes through. So I actually do not know the conditions. But this would be used for addressing the issue that we have with wastewater.
I understand there's no restrictions. You know, it's just this $76 million package
Blumenthal, yeah.
that the feds are sending to Connecticut.
That the CDS funding?
Yes.
Yeah, that's, so they applied for the grant, Abby, and you guys put the grant together, and in the grant application, it spells out what the project is for. So with that appropriation and offset from CDS funding, it would be used for that specific function,
Right,
for
right.
water pollution control. So it is very restrictive in terms of what you applied for.
It has to be for that project.
So it's for WPC, but it's pretty vague as to what specifically for what.
We applied for the engineering in the application, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not aware of.
Yeah, so part of that application, which Abby put together, short fuse with a group of people, was for the engineering piece of studying what needs to be done engineering-wise. So, and it's, I forget what the performance period is, but it'll be used specifically for that.
Any other questions for Michelle? Okay. On to item number 11, council discussion. Anyone? No? Okay. Town council committee liaison reports. Anyone been anywhere?
I went to Park and Rec last night. Rolled right into town from vacation. I wasn't gonna go, and I went there, and I didn't know what was really going on. And Michelle touched on some of it, but they went through the list of projects. So the slab is poured for the bleachers, and I think everything's going well with that, and they're ready to put the bleachers up. So it's close. The scoreboard's up if you've ever been down there. I know DPW gets a lot of credit. They helped out. And then they have to bring the electrician in. So it doesn't work yet, but it's up. So that was good news. If you've been down to the pickleball court, the slab is poured and cured, so you can see the court. That we voted last night on the colors. So there's 3 different colors. I'm not a pickleball guy, but we just looked on the internet and picked some colors. So the colors are going in there. There's still a pathway that needs to be around the outside so you can get to the far court. So they're working on that, and then they need to put, the hill there right to the right side. If you're looking at it, needs growth and stuff on there so it doesn't fall onto the court. So there's things like that that they're putting up. So I would say generally that's on track and looking good. The turf was a very disappointing conversation for me personally as a sports guy. The whole project was designed to finish by August 15th. The season for both boys and girls soccer, I'm sure there's other things too, Park and Rec, starts August 19th. But as everyone knows, the N is messed up. So the commission said, all right, well, we want this fixed, and it was your mistake. If it's easier, you can just put a C in the middle, and we'll just get rid of the Clinton on both sides. Well, they treated that as a change order, and they wanted to charge us $56,000 for that. So we said, okay, forget that. Just fix your mistake. Fix the N. And so, we can't let the kids play on the turf before they fix it, because that could create problems in the negotiation. Because that was my solution. Just let them play and fix it in the winter. But they said, the attorneys, said that wasn't advisable. So we're withholding some of the payment, and that has to all be worked out. Hopefully to give them incentive to come up here and fix the N, at least before September. The first game, I think, is September 2nd. But if that doesn't happen, it's going to be sort of a back and forth argument, and the kids are going to lose out because they're going to have to play somewhere else. Now, we do have other fields. They can play on the football field, but that's grass if they want to have night games, and there is a field there at Indian River that's, I don't even think is regulation, but they could play there too. So I didn't know any of that till last night, and I kind of left there with my tail between my legs because I don't like any of the solutions. But that's where we stand there. And as Michelle said, The $250,000, I think Bo talked to Chris, like how long do they have to spend that? Is it a year, 2 years, 3 years? They need to figure that out. And Bo needs to put things on the application for, and Michelle mentioned, like erosion is sort of like paving. You put that down there, that'll cover the 250 and some. But there's other things, and we just told Bo, you know the beach. Like what other things, like a new playscape, improvements to this or that, and, put them all on the list. You don't have to use them all. And then decide, prioritize them and decide. So I think he needs to finish that application and get that in so he can get the funding for that. And then, you heard about the beach house. They were disappointed with that, but there's no way it'll get done before January 1st, so they just throw the towel in and give the money back. And then there's limitations onto what they can do for improvements based on the assessed value of the property. You can only put money in for like half the assessed value. So it's going to be a very minor project of what they can do, like one unisex bathroom.
13,000, so the value, so
Yeah.
it goes based on the assessor's value of it, it's a 26 change, so they would only have 13,000 that they can repairs and improve under. If they go over that, then they trigger the FEMA, so
Yeah.
they have to stay under 13, and there's not really, we met, Abby, me, Bo, Joe, and Richard, looked at everything to see what they could possibly do within that, and it really,
Very limited.
very limited.
I think that's it. So that's a summary.
Anyone else?
Economic development, as I've mentioned in the past years, the group of people that are on the economic development committee are not a lot, and those that aren't as engaged as we'd like them to be, so we're going to have a recruiting effort to try to get, anybody that's got an affinity for economic development, please get them to come out and help. We're going to meet with Michelle tomorrow, John Allen and I, and we're going to try to reconstitute and develop a strategic plan and a direction forward.
Yeah, I just wanted to back up to council discussion, really nothing about liars. And just want to make this one small point, and I want to get it out to the public, like I usually do. That was well attended, that meet and greet.
Yes.
But if you noticed, a lot of people had that color hair. It was a large, over 55, 60 population. And what I'm saying to the public is, I'd like to see more people like Brian's age and Pasanti's age. The generation, let's say, from 40 to 50 or 30 to 50, to be just as involved as all those people were that night. Because they did have a lot of great questions and a lot of concerns. But, I know we have more time. I say we, the gray hairs. And you come home early, and maybe we could adjust the meeting accordingly. Maybe the younger people, just can't get there because they get home from work, they want to have a supper, pick up their kids at childcares or whatever. So maybe if we adjusted one a little later in the evening, so that they can get home and make the meetings. Maybe that's something we could think about, to help them get involved. We have to get the younger population of this town just as concerned as all we are, those people are, and that's
Understood.
just my observance of that first meeting.
So-
And it was so well attended.
It was very well
Just
attended.
absolutely amazing.
So, I'm also open to, one of my, one of the joys of this job is getting out to meet the public. So it doesn't have to just be the library quarterly. I can talk to the schools and see if there's ways, if they're, I can attend some of their back-to-school nights. I can be more visible with that age group. But if anyone has suggestions on places for me to go and host a meet and greet, I'm more than happy to do that. So just give me the suggestions, and Mary and I can figure out and coordinate that. Absolutely happy to do that.
Yeah, and also, I was just thinking, as I was mentioning to Brian that day, because we were, as you know, probably interfering with you bringing chairs in
No,
and
but
everything.
no, that was great.
People just kept coming in, but maybe we may have to have it in a bigger venue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than a library. I know I appreciate the library's offerings, and I think they just thought,
Right.
maybe a dozen people or so would show up, but, you know, there was 60, 70 people there or something, I don't know.
And like I said,
Unless
I'm-
the fire department might get mad at us for overcrowding, but anyway, yeah,
But I,
maybe a
like I
bigger
said,
venue.
yeah, and it doesn't have to be, it can be in addition to. So, you know, I'm always around, obviously, so just let me know what some ideas you have. We can test them out. We've been really working too on improving social media presence and getting things out there. So, and I'm also can work on maybe doing some video recordings and things like that and getting that out on social media and the local public television. So, absolutely, we're just starting. So
Yep.
we're working on it,
good
but we're
start.
getting there.
Two things, real quick.
Great.
One, they're less spaces where I'm seen as the young one, so Dennis, thank you for giving me that. And just planning and zoning, they're moving forward with their regulation subcommittee and design standards.
That's
That
good.
is an ongoing process and feeds into the economic development stuff, the downtown improvement stuff. It's an ongoing thing.
Excellent. Okay. Anyone else? All right, so on to item number 13, which is the executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session
So
and
moved.
invite Mary, Michelle, and is there anyone else we're inviting?
No, that's it.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. All right, so item number 14, the Public Works contract. We are looking for a motion to consider and act upon a resolution regarding the recommended ratification of a contract for the UPSEU Clinton Public Works Union for the 2024-2025 fiscal year budget.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. And is there a motion to adjourn? Second. Discussion?
There you go, guys.
All in
There you
favor?
go.
Aye.
Motion carries.